Welcome to the Growth Officers Association Growth Series podcast. I'm Kim Pack, President of AIS Federal and board member here at GOA. GOA is a nonprofit membership organization that creates a forum for growth leaders to come together and to network, learn, and share ideas across the forum. We're thrilled to bring you our podcast series where we talk everything growth in this federal government community. Our format is on demand to fit your schedule anywhere, anytime. With that, today I'm talking with Stephanie Wilson,
Hello.
COO of NetImpact Strategies. Welcome.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. So let's start with the company, NetImpact Strategies. Tell us a little bit about your company and why you're different.
Sure. NetImpact Strategies, we go by NetImpact, not NIS, which I keep hearing. We're not your typical digital transformation firm. We are very different than we used to be, so it's great to be here. It's great to share with you a little bit about the company. Although we do digital transformation, we really saw this change in government coming. And years ago, we started investing in scalable and repeatable product-led solutions. So we are still, we're not a pure play services provider. We are modernization-as-a-service, but repeatable and scalable.
Excellent. And, with that, you've had quite the journey and you've done so much in this federal market. Can you give us just a little background and how you came to NetImpact and how that COO role really is defined?
Yeah, I sort of grew up, I worked for Marriott International for many years in finance and landed in federal government after getting a PMP and starting a family. I had a different quality of life for a while, work from home and different things. And I really enjoyed running programs. So I was in the delivery side at the Food and Drug Administration and Military Health System and ended up working for a company called IT Solutions, which was eventually rebranded to Accentia, A-C-E-N-T-I-A. And through a lot of acquisitions, I ended up running the health sector at Accentia and learned so much about growth there, although I was running delivery. And I tended to gravitate to growing, not only organic growth, but also looking for new business opportunities. And when Accentia sold...
I think that's where we met, right before it sold.
It was. I had some non-competes to run out, but eventually wanted to go to a woman-owned small business specifically. And I was so lucky to meet Kavita Calator, who... had a culture of entrepreneurship and really was interested in working with me. And I've been there for 9 years, going on 9.5 years, and started out growing the business. And as I would win a program, I would end up running it. So it was an interesting journey, probably not a traditional journey. But it's been wonderful, and eventually she asked me to run both growth and delivery. So Chief Operating Officer is my title, but at this point I call it Chief Outcomes Officer because really you just do in a company of that size anything that needs to be done.
And from that perspective, because I've always known you on the growth side, and you've always been, so successful in your growth journey. Everything, has been so good at NetImpact. The COO position, really looking at delivery, is a little bit different out of what you usually do, although you started in operations or started in delivery. Tell me a little bit about, this whole idea of Chief Outcomes Officer, and tell me how you are really kind of trying to mold that into something that makes sense at NetImpact.
It hasn't always been easy. We've tried different growth models at the company, spearheaded by me, and they haven't all been successful. But in the end, as a company, our culture is very growth oriented. And so driving growth through existing programs was always my foundation, where I started. And then new business growth, I naturally gravitate to it. I enjoy it. And so that would come along. But building that mindset, the model that has worked for us is hiring technical talent and helping that technical talent build growth, have them find the growth. So from employees starting out, we train how to be a great consultant, a great, proactive thinker and problem solver. And when you're out trying to solve problems and not just sell something specific, we were experiencing just phenomenal growth from that. Will that model continue to work? We'll see. But it really, for us, it's just a natural fit for delivery and growth.
So what I'm hearing is it's everyone's job to grow the company. Mm-hmm. And with that, you are training folks to be consultants, to bring value add, to, think about the outcomes-based, portion of this more than just I have a contract and I show up.
Yeah. Well, that's a part of our transformation as a company. We started out very differently than what we look like today, and providing modernization as a service. We had to get away from the thinking that we were putting butts in seats.
Right.
And we don't do that anymore. We don't think that way. We don't build that way. That's just not how the company has built the model. But you talk about delivery. I can have a client now come to me with a challenge, a use case, and I can deliver a proof of concept in 1 to 2 weeks and show it to them. I used to tell Kavita, give me something to sell.
Yeah.
And she used to get really mad at me and say, what? You're crazy. What do you mean by that? And this is exactly what I meant, because I'm so proud when a customer tells me something's wrong. And I can say, just let me build something and show you what I can do. And to walk back in there, I am not, you know this about me, I'm not our technical leader. I'm our business person. But it makes me so proud to bring that piece of NetImpact back and say, look what we did. I'm going to show you this proof of concept, and I can do this for you in 90 days. I can do this in a matter of weeks, depending on what it is, right? So it's an unbelievable transformation, and clearly I didn't drive it. The innovation behind this engine, people much smarter than me, but it makes me so proud to deliver it.
We're going to get to innovation because I do want to talk a little bit about your product-based solutions, because it is a really cool concept and what you guys have actually built and put in a marketplace and have done such a good job around that. But before we go there, what I really want to ask about, and so I've been fortunate enough to know NetImpact for a long time, before you were even there.
Yep.
And one of the things that I find interesting is how much you build your people. And, so how are you building that next layer of growth leaders? It's not easy.
It's not. And just like growth organizations, we've tried various things. We've tried putting growth initiatives in our career paths. We've tried hiring, only growth-oriented people. But, as you grow, it's very difficult to keep up with those models. And again, what we found is hiring great talent and growth mindset. Like you either have it or you don't, is what I found. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. We start from day one with our training, and we have almost unlimited training as a company. It's unheard of, and you can go get certifications in something that you're passionate in, that is aligned with our work. But we're not going to limit you to 1 a year or something. We're really driving, keeping your skills up to date, marketable, so that you are constantly looking for your next opportunity. And as you know, Kim, growth is tied directly to employees' next opportunity.
Yes.
So it is a part of our culture to have a growth mindset, to look for your next opportunity. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, one of our strongest growth leaders in the company started out as a tech writer.
Love that.
when I started there, I remember a particular person was a business analyst on a program at Defense Health, and she's a vice president now. Like, let's not kid ourselves. In this industry, growth drives opportunity.
Right.
And so you talk about the employees and how to build that. I think it's giving them the opportunity to grow. And you will have some that shy away from growth, but you will have others that gravitate to it. And the ones that do, give them what they need. Support them, encourage them, mentor them, and let them participate. They'll be loyal too. They see the opportunities that they're getting.
Yeah, and you hit on something that I find really interesting, because you are talking about growing your next set of growth leaders, and you guys have done such a good job. One of the hardest positions to hire for is a business development executive. There's not a whole lot out there that are free to jump. And it's a hard place to be. And what I'm hearing is you guys are home growing some of those and really working from that perspective.
Yeah, I can't honestly tell you that we have a business development executive. We've tried different models, we've tried it, but I became one, and I have no sales training whatsoever. People will have a growth mindset. It's what can you teach them? How can you help them to solve problems? Are they committed to the company? Also, right, it is long, hard hours in our business. I don't think that there's anybody probably as a part of this association that doesn't know long hours and hard work. But it's also manageable, right. And you have to stand up for yourself and put your boundaries up. And good people can do that. I had to learn to do it. I don't
know if you've learned it yet.
We've all had to do it. So I don't even remember what your question was. So I'm sure I answered it. Did I?
Yes. So let's move on to innovation, because this is something I know you're really proud of. Yeah. And Kavita is, as you said, she's so entrepreneurial. And what you guys have really done is taken capabilities, and a lot of people just work from capabilities. You'll hear companies talk about their capability set. And you guys have turned that into not only a solution, but a product-based solution. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can, but we
don't have to go into
you'll
the
want to
technical
get the
detail.
real
Don't
innovators
worry.
here to talk deep. It's been a phenomenal journey. At one point, I think I went to PV and Kavita and said, "Am I the right person to lead this?" Right? Because you want the best for the people and the company. But I am, because I'm so passionate about it. And honestly, all of our customers weren't on board in the beginning. There's a certain way that modernization's been done in the past, and I feel more energized and excited now about the journey and why we're here than I ever have. It is a product-led, solution, and I can go on and on. I'll give you maybe a couple of examples will help, but there's one application that we built that's called Tech Debt Guardian. And how many of your customers are complaining about technical debt? How to get on top of it. I don't even know what it is. I don't even know how much it is.
Right.
These are genuine challenges. And we can go in and at a very, a huge value and low cost come in and not only tell them what their technical debt is, but how to remediate it, how to stay on top of it, how to solve it, how to prioritize. And I think they're just shocked at what they see and the value in that. And then
I've actually seen that.
Oh, you have? Oh, good.
And with the Tech Debt Guardian, one of the things that I find really interesting is that it doesn't matter what platform you are looking for that tech debt. And so it makes it much more flexible.
Right.
Which is that's a really nice feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, then once you have a handle on that and you're trying to modernize, we have an AI platform. We're putting it together with our app engineer. Again, another product-led solution so that you can modernize quickly, efficiently. It's repeatable, it's scalable, and it can go from one platform to another. It's just, there's a lot to see, a lot to share. I think we're there. Like, the investment early was scary, right? It's a change. It was terrifying for me. Because
you're not a product company.
I'm not a product company.
Right.
I was a services person. And,
that's right.
And this is what I learned to sell in the federal government. And now it's just so exciting to walk in and say, wait until you see this.
Yeah, it's
great.
exciting. That is
Yeah.
exciting. And I know you have many of these product-led pieces now. It's not just one or two. You
Nope.
have a whole portfolio. With that, one of the things that I have found a little bit challenging is the current landscape. And with that, once you've embedded these products and, right now in the current climate, we don't know exactly who will get cuts, who won't, all of that stuff. We're still learning day by day. And so tell me a little bit about how your organization has really kind of navigated this current landscape.
Carefully. A positive attitude, and daily reminding myself to be positive. It's hard. And I think, even I have needed a pep talk or two. We've lost good people. We've had some cuts. But being able to wake up and see the positive side, the benefits, and how I can contribute to that makes the difference for me personally. And I think, thinking about the audience that we're talking to, I think if everyone in this ecosystem could find their path to that contribution, we will get through it together. I don't know if that's the right answer, but I think we have to look.
But it's how it's getting you through.
It's
right?
how it's getting myself through, having difficult, conversations with people I really care about. The people side is hard.
Yes.
To this business, and but knowing that in the end, everybody in this ecosystem can contribute and learn to bring faster, scalable solutions. Whatever your role is in it, find it and make it happen.
Yeah, I like that answer. It's easy to get caught up into all the news, the daily grind of it all, and having that positive attitude is something that I think we all are trying to make sure that we're exuding, we're bringing to this, and that there is opportunity, and we have to be able to really kind of put that perspective in place. So I do appreciate that. It's not always easy. And have you found that you've had to align to the mission, the Doge mission?
It's interesting that you say that. On Friday, a partner, I was on a call in the morning, and the partner said to me, "Oh my gosh, your website reads like it's speaking to Doge." And another memo, I was like, "Okay, thank you." But we actually have been working on it. We wanted to tailor our message a little bit so that it was clear.
Right.
So updating your website to make sure it's clear what you do, why you do it, what is your mission, and
bringing value.
And why you're bringing that value.
Right.
It's a great message. And again, from the time we sat down until our website was updated, it was like 2 weeks. It wasn't hard, right? We were already doing it, but we needed to tailor the message to make sure. So, other thoughtful things on the delivery side, since we were talking a little bit about delivery, I immediately sat down and went through my contracts and put a risk assessment against them all. What did I need to do? I reached out to every PM and made sure that they were documenting their value that they're bringing. What statutory requirements are you aligned to? And make sure that you're prepared to communicate that. I also drove an efficiency roadmap project, which is almost complete. Every single contract in the company will have an efficiency roadmap.
That's great.
And, go sit down with our clients, deliver that roadmap and ask them, do you believe in this? Do you want to participate in this? This is what we think, or, how we think you can find value. And again, you talk about just feeling good about what you do. Some of these roadmaps are really great, and a lot of thought and hard work went into them. And so I'm looking forward to continuing those conversations with the clients.
It shows true partnership too.
Absolutely.
And that is something that I think is missing in some of these programs, and being able to say, look, we're skin in the game. Here's what we think. Here's the efficiency we can bring. And does that mean that we cut 10% or whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
Yes, but here's what it's bringing you. And so I think that's a really smart and mature way of looking at it, and not always easy.
Absolutely.
Not always easy. With that, and we know that, with efficiencies and with technology like AI and all these, things coming into our landscape, ecosystem, what do you think this government will look like in 2030? I know it's a little further out, 5 years.
It's only 5 years away. I mean, I look at what I'm learning on a daily basis. The AI platform I mentioned to you, it cuts that modernization time by 50 to 75%. Well, just think of that alone.
Yeah.
How much that can change how we go out and deliver modernization as a service. So it is going to look different. And I think it's going to be driven by AI, which everybody's talking about finally. But it really is. Now that I've seen it in action, I truly believe that it's not coming, it's here. We're delivering it. And so modernization, we're going to be delivering faster. It'll be driven by AI. I mean, we're going to look different. And going back to waking up feeling positive and knowing how I contribute, that feels good, because in 5 years, maybe we really will have a much more efficient system, and we'll all feel good again about being a part of that ecosystem.
Right. And with AI, you guys are an AI company. I know you do digital transformation. You guys are creating products around AI. I come from a company that's, doing a lot of AI work, actually spinning off an AI product. And so when you said finally, right, we're finally talking about it, it feels like, it's so new and fresh. But for some of us who've been working with it for a few years, it's almost like, oh my gosh, now is the time.
Yeah.
And so do you work with your own internal, group, your employees, to figure out ways of efficiency from an automation perspective in their daily work, right? Are you guys using it from that perspective too?
We do, and those efficiency roadmaps are a perfect example. How can you use what we deliver, what we offer, to make your customers more efficient? And also process, right?
Right.
Are there processes that can be cut that we have just added onto for so many years? And what can we cut? What tool can be implemented to make it faster, more efficient, repeatable, scalable, but also processes? How can we trim our processes? And those efficiency roadmaps will have AI all over them.
It's funny, and I'm not trying to age us. However, as we go down this whole thing with AI, this is something that is just life-changing, professionally and personally. And in our journey, there haven't been so many things like this specifically that have changed. I'll go back to the cell phone, BlackBerry's cell phone era, right? That changed the way in which we communicated. We no longer had to be tethered to our desk, right? There were things that have really changed the landscape of our professional lives. But what does that mean to you from an AI perspective? I haven't seen something this big. I don't even equate the cell phone with this.
Well, I mean, I used to work at Marriott, and I remember dropping my pager in the toilet about once a week. So the cell phones, they got a little too expensive to carry them around like that. But jokes aside, I think we don't know what AI is going to change in our personal and professional lives yet. I think it's just now, at least for me, I'm still learning. I'm still blown away when I see some of the impact that it can have. And so I think as that gets proliferated out in our, not just in our industry, but in our daily lives, we're going to see what's coming. But 5 years is a long time. It feels short to us.
Right.
But 5 years, by the time this technology is really out and doing in our everyday lives.
So many iterations.
We have no idea how it's going to change, like my grandsons' lives.
Right.
How will they live so differently than we do today?
Yeah, and you do talk about 5 short years, but still the government still is in that 5-year strategy planning. And so you look at that and you think, okay, we're planning for 5 years out already. Mm-hmm. And so there will be a lot that will have to pivot and other portions. But from that perspective, I think, and I'm just making predictions, I think everyone believes this, the automation is here to stay, and not just here to stay, but will be in every aspect of our everyday lives.
Absolutely.
And that's something from a professional perspective that we have to think about. And what can we do to help, us as humans get the most out of our work?
And as business leaders for everybody else on the team, I mean, every day I have started thinking about AI. And just a year ago, I wasn't.
Right.
Every day now I think, could this change? Could this be different? And I think that's where all of the ideas are going to come from. Are people like you and me, anybody in the world, just coming up with ideas of what can change. And AI is going to enable them to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Where it was harder before.
Totally. Because you didn't know where to start.
Right, exactly.
We knew what change could happen, but we didn't know where to start to make that happen, and create the efficiency.
Right.
You just brought up, business leaders. You talked just a minute about, how we can help affect that. NetImpact has a lot of employees today. You guys currently are fairly large, or a large business. And one of the things that I'd love to hear about is how you're building that pipeline for your next business leaders. Because I know you guys work on it, and I know you do a lot of training, and you're also out in the network. And so you guys have the ability to truly, lend mentoring, doing all of the things that you, Kavita, PV, do so instinctively anyway. How are you building that pipeline?
I think you have to remember not only to be internally focused, like the training, that's important, and mentorship. We have formal and informal mentorship programs in the company, but also just even thinking everyone in this organization's externally focused, or most are. We have to remember to be externally focused as well. So taking on being a mentor for someone outside your company, you can both learn from that experience. I think being a part of an association, we've talked about this, Kavita, PV, myself, Chad, everybody has been a part not only of an association, but participated in leadership roles, because there's so much to be gained there.
Right.
Not just from your experience, but what are you contributing, and how can we all come together with our shared experiences and make change? And so I think that pipeline of leaders, I actually think about it no matter who I'm talking to. This sounds weird, but I've hired people while I'm eating at a restaurant. I have hired people at government association meetings. I won't say which ones, probably all of them. And I think just when you're in that business and you're looking to work with great people, it's on your mind. And so you're constantly thinking about how to help somebody else.
Right.
I'm always saying, well, what do you want to do next? And I keep that in my mind and reach out to people over the years and say, are you there? Like, what do you want to do next? And oftentimes I'll end up working with those people. Right. Again, how can I help you? I mean, I'm sure you do this too, introducing people to each other. And right now I have more resumes in my inbox than I can even tell you. People that I never dreamed would reach out. And I'm always looking for ways to help them and introduce them. And just a lot of people reaching out saying, hey, I know that you might be looking for great people, or do you know this person? Right. I see you're connected on LinkedIn. I'm just getting a lot of those calls now.
It's funny. My growth person, I waited and waited, and he was in my pipeline for a very long time. And finally, everything worked out. He's now working, with me at AIS. And so you're right. It's building that pipeline of, you just never know when the right timing is going to happen, and keeping that network fresh and making sure you're checking in on folks. I love that.
Yeah.
While we're on trade organizations, let's talk about those a little, because, I grew up in trade organizations, and always a big part of who I was, and the ACT-IACs, the PSCs, the AFCIAs, Growth Officers Association, and being in leadership roles there, I believe has really helped me create a reputation, not only for me, but for our company, of this commitment and this hard work and really kind of, helping with that network around town. Tell me how they've played a role in your life.
I wish I would have been active sooner, to be honest with you, Kim. I really learned on the job over the years in this industry, and watching others grow, I finally caught on that that I would tell anybody to pick an organization, get started, and you don't have to stick with one. You probably can't join everything.
Right.
Right? We all have personal lives and so much going on. But find the one or two you really enjoy, you feel a connection with the mission, and contribute. Because not only do I feel like I give and contribute,
Right.
but I also feel like I get so much from the individuals and the shared experiences that we come together and talk about. And I don't know about you, but I've never even had a bad experience where I shared too much or somebody felt like they shared too much. There's such a genuine caring
I
of
agree.
each other and individuals in these associations, because everybody is there for a reason, and to share their experiences, to help each other.
To gain, experience from someone else, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And I have some lifelong friends that I have met through organizations like that. So I would tell young people today, maybe not young, anybody, but young is just a great place to grow your career path.
Great place to start.
It's a great way to build your network.
Yes.
That you will have forever.
Yes, I'm with you there. I think I did that fairly early on after I had left delivery. And I was...
I would say you've done pretty well at that.
I was fortunate enough to start fairly young in my business growth side, and so I love that advice for folks, because it does give you such an amazing network to be able to rely on, right? You may not touch that person for months, but they'll give you a call and say, hey,
Right.
I've got this challenge. Have you seen it? And you pick up like it's nothing. And it's so nice to be able to have that network to reach out to and to commiserate and to, gain knowledge from, whatever you're doing. And so with the associations, one of the things that I always laugh about, because I say, oh, the role of an association is to truly bring people together and collaborate. And while that is true, it's really to give knowledge and to bring government with industry together to work together. And I think from my perspective, it has given me such a respect of what government employees do and how much they do, where I may not have known that in the past, although I have a husband who retired from the government. But I just don't know that I appreciated that until I got into these associations and worked hand in hand with them.
Yeah. I think we can often forget how hard it is on the other side, and now that's more important than ever, to have empathy with each other as everybody's going through a lot of change, an industry shock,
Yep.
so to speak. But with any kind of organization, I get as much as I give. And also, don't forget that the industry or the organization as a whole will often advocate. Do you remember, this will date us, but do you remember the Beltway Bandit, reputation?
Yes.
That's
a nasty word these days,
I
right?
remember thinking about when I was considering entering this industry and going, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. And, once I realized that really, I got into the industry, learned about it, and I realized that certainly wasn't the case.
No.
And I think industry associations can participate, right, in coming together, advocating for its members and what their true mission and purpose is, makes a big difference.
I agree. And, it's funny you bring up Beltway Bandit, and in a couple of companies I was at, that term was, we were told never to use that term, and you'd hear it all over, and it was a negative connotation. I don't think it was meant to be. It was a nickname, but
Right.
it had such a negative connotation.
It did.
To your point, is that we didn't want to be known as that.
No.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I really do appreciate the role of those associations and how they bring together a lot of really great knowledge. But let's talk again. Let's go internal. And tell me a little bit about the culture at NetImpact. I know you wouldn't come without that, but tell me a little bit about that culture and how you've impacted it and how, you continue to, push for that culture.
It's everything. I think you asked earlier, I think right when we first started, how we're different or how you differentiate yourself. And obviously, I always think externally, but internally, our culture is everything. There's not hardly a day that goes by right now when I don't use our core values to make a decision, because a lot of things come naturally and you make those decisions. But right now, they're hard decisions. And so I will pull up the core values and just sit and look at them and try to think through my decision making by those core values. And the last one is just do the right thing. And as a company, we've had to make difficult choices where we've, obviously maybe margin wise or revenue wise weren't in the best interest of NetImpact, but we did it because it was the right thing. And our culture is about the people. It's growth oriented, but it's about the people. And whether it be our customers, our employees, and we really want people to stay and grow with us. So I make all of our decisions with the company, meaning the people and the culture, with that in mind. And I'd like to think, you asked me what my part in it was, because I've been here so early, I'd like to think that I helped build that, although it was just such an unbelievable foundation when I arrived. I've worked hard to keep that culture as we grew, which can be
It's
hard,
not easy.
which can be very difficult. But I think we've done it, and I'm really, really proud of that.
Talk to me a little bit about how you maintain it, because you're right. That's the difficult part. The larger you get, the more people, the more it could be diluted. So how do you do that?
I think communication and transparency, and maybe if you had asked me 6 months ago, my answer would be slightly different, but not completely. But during difficult times, even, you can always communicate when things are hunky-dory and it's great. And let me tell you about all these great things are happening. Come to the picnic, come here, come there. But when things are hard, a lot of companies will retreat into their shell and not share. And so I am always out there, whether it's providing an email update on what's going on, sharing with everyone, town halls, strategy sessions. We share openly our strategy with our employees. We give updates throughout the year on where we're at in meeting our goals. And I take that very personally because I'm responsible and accountable for meeting those goals, but sharing. And then also, if I'm communicating and being transparent about the good, the bad, when I do need help, I reach out and ask the employees for help. Hey, I'm working on this growth initiative and I'm behind and I really need your help. Or, hey, I really need this graphic made, and whatever the case is. I think our culture is find a way to get to yes, find a way to help each other, and even when things are bad, communicate and be transparent. And so I oftentimes will get a response or an email or a call after a town hall saying, thank you for sharing that with us. I know that wasn't easy. Or when I've made a difficult decision, I've had people just say to me, I know that must have been really hard, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it. Like,
That
means
goes
the
a long
world
way.
to me.
Yeah,
Our
that's great.
culture is, it's a very close-knit, when a contract is ending or coming up to close, we have a family first list. And, you think about the people you work with every day as your family.
Right.
And so you want to take care of them. And so just like they've taken care of you and the company. So we work together, and the loyalty goes both ways.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. And, Stephanie, thank you so much for sharing so much of your story, NetImpact's story. I'd love to finish out with key messages or a message that you'd like to share with our audience. I think they'd love to hear, a little bit of that wisdom from you.
I would have to stay with my message of being positive, just because when we're doing this and having this conversation, wake up every day and find something that you can be thankful for. And some days it's going to be something at home, and other days it's going to be something you contribute at work or something you get to do. Reframe how you think and be positive, because it will get you through every single day.
Yeah, Stephanie, thank you so much for your time today. And that's it, folks at home here. We are signing out. Remember, Growth Officers Association, we're a nonprofit. This will be on demand. You can listen to it, watch it anywhere, anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Okay, and